Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you can strum through a song called Let It Go by Demi Lovato. And we're going to start out on a G major chord. And when we play G major, first finger goes to the A on the second fret, second finger on the low E string on the third fret, and the third finger on the high E string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you might also want to think about taking the third finger and going to the B string third fret, and using the pinky for the high E string on the third fret. Another way you can play your G major, and that might make some of the changes through the song a little bit easier for you. And then from the G, we're going to be going to a D major chord. And when we play D major, first finger goes to the G on the second fret, second finger on the high E string on the second fret, and third finger on the B string on the third fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major, and it sounds really, really happy. And then from the D major, we're going to be going to an E minor chord. When we play E minor, first finger goes to the A on the second fret, second finger on the D string second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord. Now you may also want to think about kind of taking the third finger and adding it on the B string third fret, pinky on the high E string third fret, and that sounds an E minor 7 chord. So you may want to think about that for your E minor. And then from the E minor, we're going to be going to a C major chord. When you play C major, first finger goes to the B string on the first fret, second finger on the D string second fret, and third finger on the A string on the third fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And then another way you may want to play the C, though, is something called C major 9, where you do the first finger on the D string second fret, second finger on the A string third fret, third finger on the B string third fret, and the pinky on the high E string third fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major 9. It sounds really happy. So you want to kind of think about that too, actually, kind of think of that lick that kind of comes later on too. And on our intro, actually, it's almost like we kind of take that, which is our chorus progression, and kind of work it with just downs. So we have kind of a down, down, D, down, down, E minor, down, down, C, down, down, G, down, down, D, down, down, E minor, down, down, C, down, down. And then from there, then we go into our verse part. And a verse kind of takes some of those chords and mixes it up. We start on an E minor, and then we go to a C major, and then we go to a D major, and then we go to an A minor chord. When we play A minor, first finger goes to the B string on the first fret, second finger on the D string second fret, third finger on the G string second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. Now around that A minor, actually, especially in the lick, actually, you also kind of hear where you could take the pinky and kind of add it in on the B string on the third fret, and that sounds something called A sus or A suspended. So on the A minor, you may want to kind of think about doing kind of the A sus and then kind of resolve into A minor. And then we go back to E minor, and then go to C, and then we go to a D major, and then we go to an A major or an A7 chord. And then when you play A major, first finger goes to the D on the second fret, second finger on the G string second fret, and third finger on the B string on the second fret. So it's a big party on the second fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you might also want to think about kind of lifting the second finger, which is always a dangerous finger to lift, and that sounds an A7 chord, or you could kind of readjust your fingers actually if you wanted to, kind of that first finger, second finger. And that sounds an A7, which sounds really nasty. And then from the A7 we go back to our E minor, and then back to our C, and then we go to our D, and then we go to the A minor, or the A7 verse suspended to the A minor, and then the E minor, and at the end we go to a D major, and then we end on our A major chord. Now through that part, actually, there's this really cool fingerstyle lick, actually, and it kind of works some really cool licks for those chords. So if you're interested in that, you could kind of use your thumb for kind of a bass player, and your index and middle to kind of play some notes together. So you could start on the third fret on the high E and the fifth fret on the B string, and kind of play those with the fingers, and then play the low E string for your bass on the E minor chord. And then for the C, you could play the third fret on the B string with the third fret on the A string for kind of your bass. And then for the D chord, you could do the high E string or second fret on the high E, third fret on the B string with kind of your index middle, and then use your D string for your bass. And then on the A minor, you could kind of leave that third finger on the B string on the third fret, and kind of use the G string, B string notes with the fingers, and use your thumb for the bass, and then go to first fret on the B string and kind of resolve that for that A minor chord. And then we almost kind of start that over again with kind of that E minor idea again, and then our C idea again, and then the D idea again, and then the A7 idea. there, then we go back to kind of our E minor, and then our C, and our D, and then the A, suspended to kind of the A minor, and then the E minor again, and then we have the C again, and then, but that fourth time, we do our E minor, and then we kind of walk it down to the D idea, and then we go to our A idea at the very end. So if you wanted to, you could kind of work it as kind of a finger style thing, kind of that E minor, C, D, A sus, A minor, E minor, C, D major, and then the A7, E minor, C, D, A sus, A minor, E minor, D, A. So you want to kind of use the fingers to kind of work that. Now if you're more interested in just kind of strumming through it, one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 light, this is down, down, up, up, down, up. So if you took the E minor and just tried that a lot, you'd have down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now the weird part about applying that part is you may feel a lot of the chords kind of half. So on those halving chords, you could do just a down, down, up. So you could have E minor with a down, down, up, C, down, down, up, D, down, down, up, A minor, down, up, E minor, down, up, C, down, up, D, down, up, A, down, up, E minor, down, up, C, down, up, D, down, up, E minor, D, and then we get our whole strum pattern on that last A. Now you can also kind of add those bass notes we were just using to the strumming too. So on the E minor, you'd have the low E string for your bass. On the C, you'd have the A for the bass. On the D, you'd have the D for the bass. And on the A and the A minor, actually, and A sus, you'd have the A string for the bass. And on the G chord for our chorus, actually, we'd have the low E string for the bass. So we tried adding basses to that. We'd have E minor with the bass, down up, C with an A bass, D with the D bass, A minor with an A bass, E minor with the low E bass, C with an A bass, D with the D bass, A major with an A bass, E minor with low E bass, C with an A bass, D with the D bass, A minor with an A bass, E minor with low E bass, D with the D bass, A with an A bass, down, up, down, up. And then from there, then we'll be going into our pre-chorus part. And our pre-chorus alternates between the D major and our C major chord. And if you wanted to, you could even kind of take those licks from the D and the C that we were just talking about, and that might be kind of a cool way to kind of work it. Now I'm doing it hybrid picking, so I'm using my pick for my basses and my fingers to kind of cover the other notes of the lick. Or you could just strum through that part, and it's actually kind of this big C at the very end. Or you could do the down, down, up, and have do the down, down, up, C, down, up, down, up, D, down, up, down, up, C, down, up, big C. Or you could add basses to that and have D with the bass, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, big C. And then from there, then we'd be going into our chorus part, which is kind of like our intro progression. Now on this part though, it almost kind of feels like you could kind of do 8 downs on each chord. So we kind of dig on that. You could have G with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, D, E minor, C, down, 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 through that part. Like kind of way to kind of work it. Or to contrast it. Or you could do your down, down, up, and if you're quick enough, that could completely work. It's G, down, up, down, up, D, down, up, E minor, down, up, C, down, up, down, up, G, down, up, down, up, D, down, up, E minor, down, up, C, down, up, down, up. Or you could add basses to that and have G with the bass, down, up, down, D with the D bass, down, down, E minor, low E bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, G with low E bass, down, down, D with the D bass, down, down, E minor, low E bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down. And then from there, then that last time we got just kind of that G, D, and then we kind of hit a big C chord. It's kind of a big down at the end. Then we're going into our next verse. We talked about a lot of different ways to kind of work that. But on this part, it almost sounds like 4 downs. It's almost like the chorus idea kind of gets carried over. So you may want to work kind of that E minor 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, A minor, E minor, C, D, A, E minor, C, D, A minor, E minor, D, and then kind of a big A push at the very end of that. And then from there, then we going back into our chorus progression. Now, what you may want to do actually is kind of take all these different ideas that we're talking about and kind of find a way that works for you. Or if you even know other strum patterns that work or other licks that work too, that would be a cool thing to kind of add to it too. Or alternating between those ideas that we talked about would be a cool way to kind of make the tune your own too. C, G, D, E minor, C, and then that last time on the chorus, that full G and the D, and then our C major at the very end. And then from that second chorus, then we going into our bridge part. And we'll be repeating that until we get to an intro return where you kind of hear everything kind of break down to kind of those 2 downs on each chord. E minor, C, and then we kind of go into like an outro chorus. And actually there's a really cool chord change here. It starts out that same way with the G and the D, E minor, and our C chord, and then there's this cool change where we go back to G, and instead of doing the D major, we do an F major chord. And if you know the bar F major, you do your first finger across the entire 1st fret, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd fret, 3rd finger on the A string 3rd fret, and the pinky on the D string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an F major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. A good substitute for that, though, is something called F major 7. Where you do your 1st finger on the B string 1st fret, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd fret, and 3rd finger on the D string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds an F major 7 chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And then from the F, then we go to our E minor chord, but then we go to an E flat major chord. When you play E flat, it's kind of taking the D shape over 1 fret. It's a really easy way to do that. Where you do 1st finger on the G string 3rd fret, 2nd finger on the high E string 3rd fret, and the 3rd finger on the B string on the 4th fret. And if you strum the G string to the high E string, just the G, B, and E, it sounds an E flat major chord. So on that one part of kind of our outro chorus, you kind of got that change from the G, F, E minor, E flat, and then we go back for our G, and then from there, then we go into kind of our outro chorus. So we have our G, D, E minor, C, G, D, E minor, C. So you know other licks or other ways to play these chords, even or other strum patterns that would work. Feel free to kind of take this lesson and kind of elaborate on it. How you can strum through Let It Go by Demi Lovato. So good luck!